Welcome to the Learning Lounge with Chuks Livia, a space where we rethink, reimagine, and rebuild what education could truly be. In this, our first episode, we are asking some tough but necessary questions. Why are so many schools producing students who can pass exams but struggle in the real world? Why do so many teachers feel burned out and students feel bored or broken by a system that is meant to build them up? From overcrowded classrooms and outdated curriculums to testing pressures and limited resources, the cracks in our education systems are no longer invisible, they are loud and glaring. But the goal today isn't just to complain, it is to uncover the why behind these problems and begin imagining how we can fix them together. So grab a notebook or just an open mind and let's dive into this uncomfortable truth and hopeful possibilities of modern education. Thank you. First point on today's episode is outdated curriculum. How has outdated curriculum caused failure in our schools today, where we have rote memorization instead of critical thinking and curiosity? Learning is more of rote memorization and less of critical thinking. Some curriculum do not even implement critical thinking. They're more focused on rote memorization in the sense that repetition, like a situation whereby, let me say a teacher, for example, is teaching students and she keeps on trying to just pass that from information just at the moment, having those children to repeat what, let's say a definition, for example, having them repeat that definition constantly, memorizing them, instead of asking them questions to spark curiosity in them. So, Mr. Chuks, what do you have to say about this too?
That's in the aspect of memorization.
Yes.
In the aspect of memorization, for me, I would say what I have to say in this aspect is, I'm not saying memorization for the students are good. It's not good. But I'm not going to blame any student that passes through examination or passes through exam quiz, like higher institution, they call it quiz, or they call it, what does the grade class call their own now? I've forgotten. It's been long I've been to grade class.
It's continuous assessment.
Okay, continuous assessment and the examination.
Yeah.
You see some students, based on the kind of background or parents they have or everything, they will want to impress their parents or they will want to impress their teacher. But I won't say any kid that wants to impress the teacher have the aspect of memorization for examination or for anything. Because for if a student have a very good, as in love, a subject teacher or a course teacher, he or she always gravitates towards whatever that teacher is saying. You understand what I'm saying? Or what that lecturer teaches in the class, they get it because they have an interest. They have a very good impartation from that lecturer, from that teacher. But for a student that probably, just like for example, saying that there are lots of students in a classroom, you understand, whereby a lecturer or a teacher teaches and obviously probably doesn't even care to ask questions to know whoever gets whatever he or she understands from his or her teaching. You see a student, okay, everything will just go like that. The teacher will just come to the board, right? I know from my experience from my own school, I would say my secondary school days, I know sometimes our teacher will give us a note to copy on the board for other students to write.
Yeah.
So that student that they like, they will give them their note. Okay, copy this for your fellow students.
Yes.
So when I come to the class, maybe tomorrow or next, I will not illustrate or say more about what the student, copied for the class. So what we all will be doing is just copying. And after copying, what next? We'll close our book and put it in the bag, and that's all. So probably when the teacher comes tomorrow, or maybe the teacher might even forgot to come, he is going to submit his notebook for the supervisors And whenever the supervisors come to the class, you will see that what the teacher submitted in his notebook is actually was in our notebook. So that means the teacher did his job. Whereas they didn't know that the teacher didn't teach that specific course, that he just gave the student to copy on the board.
Yeah,
So during the examination or during the assessment, what else do you expect the student to do? Memorize it just to come and write it and pass it.
you photocopy.
Copy and paste. That's what we used to call it. Copy and paste. My own advice is kids should read. They should try make time, and also let our parents also help in preparing the kids after school hours, like at home. It's very necessary, it's very, very good for parents to also get involved in their kids school activities, which is their what they did for the day. As in, when the kid come back, you ask them, what was your today lesson like? What was your today study like? How was school today? So the kid can be able to open up, because that's one thing I know about kids. When you ask them any question, they open up and tell you. So you see some kids that will even say, well, I didn't understand what my teacher taught us today. So you cannot tell, okay, let's go through what the teacher taught you people at school today. In that way, that child is learning. When you even after the examination, or even after the quiz or the continuous assessment, even whenever you ask the kids about those studies and everything, he or she can be able to remember and say it perfectly. But memorization, after writing it, after that memorization of that purpose that you needed it for, because for someone to memorize something, you need it for something. So immediately you are done with that thing, with that purpose, you memorized all that pages. And me, I can speak from experience. It do happen to me sometimes. Whenever I kind of memorize before examination or for my quiz, after writing it, I'll forget it. I won't be able to remember those things again. So my advice is for kids to learn, as in read their book continuously, read as much as they can, and stop on memorization.
All right, thank you very much. So what I'm also going to say is this, that a lot of schools, a lot of educational institutions should adopt a curriculum that is not centered on rote memorization, because it is not helping matters. A situation like, let's say, instead of you see some persons like, okay, a teacher, you ask a question in the class, let's say, what is pollution, for example. Instead of in your own idea, or in your own words, can you explain the meaning of pollution? Do you understand? So when you're using that word, always define, or what is, you're putting this individual or a child in the position where they have to memorize to give you word to word. And another thing is, I think when you come to our higher institutions where lecturers will give you books, a whole lot of textbooks, and they do not come to the classes to teach. And
Which they are very good at.
good. So you
all
find
they
out
care
that,
is just for you to come and buy that book.
yes,
That's all they care.
Yes.
Just come and buy the book. Buy. And the one the thing that is most funny that I just remember that I'm laughing is that if you don't buy, you are in trouble.
exactly.
If you don't buy, you are in trouble. Can you today? I don't want to call Nigeria, because I don't know how it's been done in other countries, because I've not been to other countries for their schools. So I'm just speaking for my own, from Nigeria, which in the school. For you to come and for you to pass, you must buy a lecturer's handout, or you must buy a lecturer's textbook.
Well, textbook is one of a tool that every learner needs. But the problem I have with is that these people, they are more keen on selling rather than impacting the knowledge of what is inside the
They
book.
don't even care about any imparting of knowledge.
When you buy
That's
a book
the issue.
and
They don't care.
the person does not explain, well, they actually expect you to do self-learning. There is different from self-learning, because the thing is that when someone explains something for you, like I wrote a textbook, for example, and I sell the book to you, I come to explain what I wrote in my book to you. Then even when you want to do self-learning, it's going to make it a lot more easier for you. You're going to capture the information that I'm trying to pass. But if I just give, at some point you might get choked up with, oh, I don't get this concept, I do not understand it. You might just try to, okay, and you feel like, oh, I might get asked or questions might come from this particular place, so I just have to memorize for the sake of let me pass. So what I'm trying to say is that rote memorization, the only thing it does that it only makes students to read to pass for exam or test, not just to have knowledge. But when we talk about critical thinking, what critical thinking does is that it sparks curiosity. It will even inculcate the spirit of researching.
Teachers to teach, that is where I stand. Teachers,
No, teachers definitely
teachers,
teach.
lecturers, professors come to the class and lecture the students.
Sure.
Not giving them textbook. They should come and buy your textbook. If you didn't buy my textbook, you will not pass.
You know
and
that
after giving the textbook, you say, go and read chapter. Go and read the words. What am I reading? You are the one that have the experience. Come and impart, because there are some certain words in textbooks that when you read, you will have that word of those single words that they wrote in that textbook or in that handout. But if the teacher comes, as you are the teacher who wrote that book, if you come, you can be able to break it down. For me, go and read chapter this, go and read chapter that, and you will not come to class to teach. And you don't frequently come to class to follow up your courses. Tell me how the...
Well,
me, I stand in the side of students. I won't blame any student that is memorizing.
no, memorization, however way we try to look at it, memorization is very bad. As is that just like you taking a document to a photocopy machine, and then you ask the photocopy machine to photocopy, give it a command, it photocopies, so that's just the end. Do you understand? So what I'm trying to say is that outdated curriculums, they should be looked into by the Ministry of Education, even curriculum planners. Why they are planning their curriculum, they should make sure that the curriculum is planned very well. Schools should be investigated to be ensured that they are no longer using outdated curriculum, but curriculum that focuses on critical thinking. Like I used to have a lecturer then when I was in school. Method of teaching was she uses questioning. Do you understand? So what she tries to do is, and aside from questioning, she tries to relate each topic to our real life. Do you understand? So when you relate a topic to the real life, and then you ask a child, for example, a question, something that child is familiar with, because the thing is that everything that we do in this life, everything that we learn in the classroom is related to what we're doing in our everyday life. The simplest way of learning is relating what you are learning to your everyday life, because whatever you're learning in the classroom, in one way or the other, it's reflecting in your daily life activities. So the lecturer, she would always relate it to our real life experience. And what I do is that I pick the points and then I try to think, because she will ask you questions. So the easiest way I'm able to pass her courses then was that I think, I try to figure out which other experiences or which other scenarios does this thing relate to in the real life. And I don't need to go and start reading a whole how many pages of textbooks to understand what she's trying to say. It made writing the course easier for me. It made it, I was passing it very well because I've gotten the concept, the idea of what she's trying to say. And once I'm able to even bring out more of my own ideas. That's what critical thinking does. And you see that anytime you're being called up, you can easily answer. Even when they wake you up from sleep, you can answer. But memorization, once you've packed it in your head and offloaded it on paper, it's gone. So let's move on to the next point, which is overemphasis on standardized testing. Overemphasis on standardized testing, and this is a situation where most schools are focused on their pupils passing external exams. They are more focused on them passing a particular exam other than the children gaining knowledge. Like, for example, the West African examination, that is WAEC, and then you see that they will pick out the key subjects, those compulsory subjects that those children are going to write. Then they will focus, they will channel the whole attention, the whole energy on those ones that they feel that these children should prepared for,
Yes.
because they're preparing them to pass the exam. Now leaving out the other subjects too, which are also important, because no knowledge is a waste. You might actually focus on okay, let's say you say take out agriculture. You are not going to write agriculture, for example. Sorry, you're going to scrape out agriculture because we're not sitting for agriculture in the work examination
NECO.
or NECO as well. And then I will now be, me as a student, you will now, you as a teacher will now be preparing me just for that external exam, so that I will do very well, because too much emphasis have been placed on it. You need to pass. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's a safe phase for the school.
Exactly.
That's kind of being on a safe phase for the school.
So that they will say, oh, this school, they are passing
know
their
how
way,
they know
are doing very
what
well.
they are doing. They teach kids very well. They pass their exam. They pick very, very much interest in all the kids, so for them to pass their exam, which is not true. But that's selfishness.
And then
That's selfishness and wickedness even onto the kids, because when you pick on those important courses, important subjects, and pump them, fill their brains with all those important knowledge, because they are the things that they will ask them either in their common interest exam or in their NECO or WAEC. Then when that student moves to the higher education and be asked some of those subjects that you forgot to teach them, do you really know that they will fail it?
of course,
And they will be answering rubbish. And the next thing, I know very well, in high institution, lecturers are very good at that. They will ask you, what school did you come from? What secondary school? And you see that student self, he or she will even be the one that will even be saying, they don't even used to teach some of all these things in my secondary, when we were in secondary, so they kind of taught me some of this just for me to pass the exam. They will say it.
Yeah. Sure.
That's the mentality of a child, and they will definitely out you.
Yes.
That's
so the problem there is that if this core subject, you only focus on the core subjects for the child to pass, just like I said, no knowledge is a waste. You do not know where that child is going to utilize the knowledge that you felt is not necessary.
Exactly.
You get? So
Exactly.
and all the things that, if you know all the subjects that are being made to taught,
It's not a bad
they should
thing.
all be taught.
It's not going to be a bad thing. It's going to be an
They
impact
should
for
all
them.
be taught. Then when it's time to write exam, then if you're preparing a student very well, if you're teaching the student very well, I'm not sure that you feel scared of that child passing the exam. You're only worried about a child passing an exam if you're not doing your job very well, or if you yourself will know when you've done your job.
If you asking him or her, didn't I teach you this? Did you? Did you very well teach him or her that thing, and he or she didn't pass it?
No, there's
and the next thing they will blame the child. They'll say, making emphasis on probably the younger brother who is in lower class than her, or the elder brother who is in a higher class. Say that's how the elder brother, that's how one of the teacher in the elder brother class says that the brother doesn't know anything, or probably the younger one is very, very intelligent, so it's from this person's fault. There is no child, their brain, as long as a child brain is still tender, anything that enters this head, it's captivating, it's magneting. If you cool down, if you easily, that is why I said initially, breaking down words, like in primary section or even in secondary section, breaking down words and not using big English for them. When you use that big English, how can the child be able to understand?
No.
How can the child be able to? I'm just saying the truth.
No,
break down the words for them in the sense that that will be in a level of that child, so that when he or she can be able to, you want to interfere, because you also you're a teacher.
I
know what I'm saying.
I
know what I'm saying, because I have the experience as well.
I quite understand
Using big English for us. As you are teaching,
yes,
know the kind of words that you are using for those kids in that level. Just like in grade 1, you're teaching a grade 1 student, you can't use the same word you're teaching a grade 1 student to be teaching a grade 2 student, a grade 3, 4, 5, 6, or just as 1.
Okay.
You can't be using those words. Just like why would you be using metamorphosis for a grade 1 student or a grade 2? What does he can't he or she can't even spell it?
No, you say no. There are kids that are actually smart.
There are kids that are smart, but consider those ones who are not that
I have a child
sharp.
I have a child in my class. What this child does is that whenever I say some words that the vocabulary sounds like, oh, I've not heard this thing before, he always asks me, think of this word. That's the child that wants to learn. I'll now tell him, okay, this is the meaning of. So what I do is that I would use what you call the big words, the big grammar, then I still break it down. When I see it, I still explain because I don't want them to like be limited to what they know. Do you understand? You have both. Do you get? So as a child, even when I was going to school, it's just smart learners. When or if you have a teacher doesn't like to explain things, just take down the spelling or just have the word in your head.
Who is taking down the spelling?
Oh wait, now are you?
Yeah, are you talking to a grade student to take down the spelling?
I remember you said a child that is enthusiastic about learning. Do you understand? You can go home and say to your elderly ones that there is one grammar my teacher used in class today. And please, can you help me spell it? Or do you know the meaning? We're trying to tell them that, oh, if you're listening to this video, that these are very important things that you should be doing. Do you understand that? When a child has the right to ask you a question, if you feel you cannot answer the question immediately, or you're working with time or whatever, you can tell the child to come around later. Do you understand?
Okay.
Thanks so much for joining us today on the Learning Lounge with Chuks Livia. We've only just scratched the surface of today's topic, why our schools are failing and how we can fix them. And trust us, there's a lot more to unpack. From outdated systems to real practical solutions, this conversation is far from over.
So if today got you thinking, questioning, or even fired up, make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the rest of this powerful series. We will be back soon with part 2, dividing very deeper into the real meaningful education reforms can look like. Until then, keep learning, keep asking questions, and remember, change starts with awareness.
In the meantime, we'd love to hear from you. Drop your thoughts, questions, or even disagreements in the comment section below. See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.